In this 24-25 Premier League season, Matheus Cunha has been showing why he's one of the best players in England, despite currently playing for and carrying a team fighting a relegation battle in this campaign. He consistently shows off his incredible Brazilian flair, scores absolute wonderful golazos. In fact, he's the 5th highest non-penalty goal scorer in the Prem this season, and overall, he's finally displaying to football fans how much of a top baller he is. So, how did Matheus Cunha come out of nowhere this season and become so good that almost every Premier League club would want to sign him? I mean, Arne Slot was literally just glazing him recently, saying he could play for one of the top 5 teams in England. Well, let's take a look at probably one of the most underrated footballers right now, Matheus Cunha, explain what he's done so far this season, and how he became such a world-class baller. Now, to give some context on Matheus Cunha's career so far, he's always been someone that's gone under the radar and has been underappreciated. Unlike many other Brazilian footballers who received mainstream attention when they left Brazil at an early age to join a European club, like Vinicius, Rodrigo, Endrick, and even Oscar when he joined Chelsea, when Matheus Cunha left Curitiba's under-20 team to go to Europe and join FC Sion in Switzerland at just 18 years old, nobody even batted an eye. To be fair, he did join the Swiss league. Nobody's really following that league internationally, respectfully, but still, you would expect at least a little bit hype, right? Especially leaving home at just 18 years old, but in reality, he got no hype, like zero. Even after balling out for FC Sion for just one season, getting 10 goals and 8 assists in 32 games in his debut campaign, and ended up joining RB Leipzig at 19 years old the following summer for 15 million euros, there was still little to no hype about it. A 19-year-old Brazilian playing regular football at a Bundesliga club was getting minimal hype. That's how underappreciated Cunha was. Now, also to be fair, his performances were pretty inconsistent, but one of his goals did get nominated for the Puskás Award back in 2019, and although he didn't win it, at least his name was starting to get out there a little bit more. However, after playing just above 50 games for Leipzig, he got signed to Hertha Berlin for 18 million euros, and despite scoring 13 goals and got 10 assists in 40 games, which is a pretty good output, Hertha Berlin weren't that good of a side. In fact, they're not even in the Bundesliga right now because they got relegated. So when Atletico Madrid came calling in the summer of 2021, Matheus Cunha jumped ship and joined them for 35 million euros at just 22 years old. However, his time at Atletico Madrid was also inconsistent, and although you could see flashes of brilliance from Cunha here or there, it wasn't enough. And eventually, by the time Brazil announced their 2022 World Cup roster, Matheus Cunha was left out, and was even seen crying after he realized that he wasn't going to be playing for his country in Qatar. So not only was Cunha just being underappreciated by football fans and clubs, but even his country didn't appreciate his unique skill set. That's when Cunha realized he needed to go somewhere else and play for a club that might not be fighting for league titles, but at least he could become one of their key players. Hence why he initially joined Wolverhampton Wanderers on loan in January 2023, before being permanently bought by them in the following summer for 50 million euros. Now, although at Wolves before the 24-25 campaign, Cunha was having his best performances of his career so far, it wasn't anywhere near the world-class level that we're seeing now. For the second half of the 22-23 season, after Cunha joined on loan, he only bagged 2 goals in 17 games. That's it. And then in the 23-24 season, he would exhibit how good he could be, getting 14 goals and 8 assists in 36 games, with 12 of those goals and 7 of those assists coming in the Prem. But that was the thing about Cunha to this point. Sometimes he could have a good stretch of momentum, like his 23-24 season at Wolves, and sometimes, despite having these good games, he could fall off the face of the earth and display some pretty poor performances. And with Cunha playing for his 5th club in just 6 seasons up to that point, his career was filled with uncertainty and confusion. But in this 24-25 season, which we're about to get to, he was finally able to show off his exceptional talent and show why he might be one of the best players in the Premier League currently, despite Wolves being terrible this season, fighting relegation. Now, one of the reasons why Wolves have been so bad this season is because of their manager instability, with Julian Lopetegui, the initial manager, leaving the club like 10 days before the season started due to a number of disagreements with the club, and Wolves had to appoint Gary O'Neill as a last-minute appointment, and he even got sacked back in December 2024, and Vitor Pereira has now taken over. But despite this major instability and Wolves losing so many games, like bro, they literally went winless in their first 10 games, losing 7 of them, the one stable part about this club this season is Matheus Cunha is balling out. To talk about the season now, in the second game against Chelsea, although Wolves got slapped up 6-2, Matheus Cunha bagged his first goal of the campaign with a well-placed finish in this match. Then a few games later against Aston Villa, although this time Wolves lost 3-1, Cunha did well in this match, winning the ball in the middle of the pitch from Onana and then striking the ball beautifully into the back of the net after hitting the post to get the lead in the match, even though later they did lose. A couple games after this against Brentford, although Wolves lost 5-3, Cunha positioned himself openly in the middle of the box and scored to get his 3rd of the season. And a couple of games later against Brighton in that 2-2 draw, Cunha would score his 4th goal of the campaign, and a game later against Crystal Palace in that 2-2 draw as well, Cunha would get an assist, his first one of the season. So in the first 10 games of the season where Wolves went winless and were bottom of the table, Matheus Cunha had himself 4 goals and 1 assist, which is a pretty solid output with all things considered. Eventually, the next game against Southampton, Wolves were finally blessed with a good result, and it's all thanks to Matheus Cunha, who for Wolves' first goal of the game, won the ball in the middle of the pitch, drove it forward as he usually likes to do, and then delivered a peach of a pass to Sarabia, who scored to give Wolves the lead. Then for Wolves' second goal, Cunha found himself open with acres of space a few yards away from the box and just decided to shoot the ball accurately into the goal to give Wolves their first win of the season and a 2-0 win over the Saints. What a beauty of a goal from Cunha, man. This is the type of quality he has in his locker. And if we analyze this goal even further, you can see simply how smart Cunha is on the pitch. Thanks to James Lawrence Olcott for pointing this out, obviously. He's a great technical channel. But instead of running in behind Southampton's defense like the defenders thought he'd do, he decided to run back a little bit just to receive the ball from Lamina, which then opened up space for him to shoot and score. Cunha lives and breathes football, and it's clear to see why. But Wolves' good luck wouldn't just only be against Southampton. It would also be against Fulham in the very next game. A club, by the way, who is currently fighting for a spot in Europe and are currently 8th place. But anyways, in this match, despite Wolves initially going down 1-0, thanks to a great strike from Iwobi, they came back in this match thanks to Cunha, who for the first goal brought down a wonderful long pass from Mario Lamina and finished the chance off into the net to level up the game once again. Literally, the goal came out of nothing too. Nobody was making any runs, etc. And then all of a sudden, from the middle of the pitch, Cunha starts running, outpacing the defenders, which is why he easily got by them and scored. Incredible understanding of the game from Cunha, and he had the pace to punish Fulham. Then for the second goal Wolves scored, despite being surrounded by Fulham players, out of his third eyeball or something, he spots João Gomez slightly open, fed him the ball, and he scored to put Wolves up 2-1, thus giving Cunha an assist. Then for the third goal, while the ball is in the air, Cunha scans the field, which is something he does pretty often. That's what I really like about him. Outmuscles the Fulham player, and eventually got the ball back to dink it over the goalkeeper splendidly to give Wolves a rare 3-1 lead this season. Another world-class goal from Cunha, man, and his celebration says it all. He pretty much says he's him and that he's got a big cock. And shit, I don't really doubt it either. He looks like he got that thing on him, if you know what I mean.
Hey, yo!
Anyways, eventually, Wolves will win this match 4-1, and Cunha was instrumental in Wolves' second win of the season, getting 2 goals and 1 assist in this match. And he did much more than just getting the goal contributions. Like, his overall play in the defense and offense was just top notch. I mean, there is a reason why FotMob gave him a 9.3 rating for this match, and I don't blame them at all. Sadly for Wolves though is after this, they would lose 4 straight games, but the one against Ipswich is the loss we're gonna highlight, because although Wolves lost 2-1 due to some really unlucky moments, like that crazy own goal, I don't know how that even went in, to be honest. That was straight out of FIFA, man, or conceding in the very last minute of the game to lose at home 2-1. Cunha had a decent game, even scoring in the 72nd minute in what seemed like a potential comeback. But even though Cunha got another goal, this match was memorable for something much worse, because at the end of it, there was some anger piling up from the Wolves players, and Cunha even got in a fight with an Ipswich staff member, even grabbing his glasses away from him, and I think even breaking them. This was actually so fucked up from Cunha, I'm not gonna lie. Even though this video is about me glazing him, you don't take another man's glasses, man, come on. For this though, Cunha was fined £80,000 and also had to serve a 2-game suspension, where he missed the FA Cup third round tie against Bristol City and the Premier League game against Nottingham, where Wolves lost 3-0. But before that suspension, Cunha would play an integral role in 2 more games. One in a 3-0 win over Leicester City away from home, and a bottom of the table scrap where Matheus Cunha finished a goal in superbly to stamp that 3-goal advantage, and then in the 2-0 win over Manchester United, where he scored an Olympico somehow. Like, what the hell was Onana doing, bro? And then despite running for almost 100 minutes, Cunha had one last sprint in him, getting past Lisandro Martinez, and then put it on a platter for Hwang Hee-chan to score the second goal of the match and win 2-0. Seems like everybody's beating Manchester United these days, huh? I guess you could also say they're in a relegation battle. But anyways, in this game, Cunha played amazingly, which is why he was given an 8.7 rating by FotMob in this match. Then in the latest 3 games at the time of recording this for Matheus Cunha with Wolves, he scored in each of those games. One against Aston Villa and Wolves' 2-0 win over them. Reminder, Aston Villa are battling for a place in Europe with them being 9th place, and they also finished in the top 8 of the Champions League group stage phase, and Cunha dunked on these guys in the Prem, juking them out with a fake shot and then actually finishing the ball into the back of the net to secure that dub. And his celebration was him announcing that he signed a contract extension with Wolves. But also with this new contract, there will be a new release clause that can be activated in the summer for around £62.5 million, which means that Cunha is probably going to be leaving in the summer. We'll talk about that in a bit though. And then in the next game in the FA Cup against Blackburn Rovers, Cunha would score a goal away from home to secure that 2-0 win, and he also got an 8.6 rating in this game too. He was balling. And then finally in the most recent game against Liverpool, although Wolves lost 2-1, they played well, especially in the second half, making sure my club Liverpool didn't get a single shot on target. And he also scored an amazing golazo, juking out Gravenberch and then striking the ball with his weak foot past his Brazilian teammate Alisson Becker, and scored to win the game within 1. And also, Cunha got 8.2 rating in this game too. He's been cooking. In fact, in all competitions this season so far, he's got a 9, 8 and above rating games. And it would be much more if we calculated from 7.5 ratings and above. So yeah, Cunha's been balling. Now these goal contributions are great and all, but what about the advanced stats that really highlight his individual ability? Well, let's take a look right now. According to FB Ref, in this 24-25 season so far for Matheus Cunha against other attacking mid/wingers, he's in the 90th percentile for goals, getting 0.54 per 90, 94th percentile for non-penalty goals, getting 0.73 per 90, 88th percentile for shots on target, getting 1.34 per 90, 99th percentile for goals minus XG, which is basically the difference between the actual number of goals a player has and their expected goals, which is the probability of them scoring from a specific position. And he has a plus 0.29 per 90 in that department, which is just sensational. Which means he's overperforming his XG. And then he's also in the 79th percentile for passes into the final third with 3.25 per 90, 86th percentile for switches, 83rd percentile for dead ball passes, 87th percentile for passes from free kicks, 86th percentile for tackles in the defensive third, which just means he tracks back a lot and is successful at it as an attacker.
He wins that ball so much.
83rd percentile for interceptions, 88th percentile for clearances, 82nd percentile for touches in the defensive third, 79th percentile for touches in the middle of the pitch, 84th percentile for carries into the final third with 2.98 per 90, 87th percentile for fouls drawn with 2.22 per 90, 82nd percentile for ball recoveries, etc. So basically, Cunha is great at being defensive despite playing high up the pitch. Not only that, this is only when you're comparing his individual stats compared to other attacking mid/wingers. But what about comparing him to other forwards? After all, Cunha is pretty versatile on the pitch. He's played multiple positions so far this season, like the 10, striker, the main striker up top, left wing, right wing, etc. So when you compare him to other forwards, he's in the 95th percentile for progressive carries with 3.71 per 90, 97th percentile for progressive passes with 4.7 per 90, 96th percentile for shots from free kicks, 98th percentile for goals minus XG, 96th percentile for passes completed, 97th percentile for total passing distance, 98th percentile for progressive passing distance, 96th percentile for completed short passes, 95th percentile for completed medium passes, 97th percentile for long passes completed, 89th percentile for expected assists, 89th percentile for key passes, 99th percentile for passes into the final third, 98th percentile for passes into the penalty area, 97th percentile for progressive passes, 90th percentile for through balls, 90th percentile for shot creating actions, 99th percentile for tackles in the defensive third, 97th percentile for dribbles tackled, 99th percentile for interceptions, 98th percentile for touches, 93rd percentile for touches in the attacking third, 97th percentile for takeons attempted with 4.93 per 90, 96th percentile for successful takeons with 2.06 per 90, 95th percentile for passes received, 95th percentile for carries, 97th percentile for progressive carrying distance, 99th percentile for carries into the final third, 92nd percentile for carries into the penalty area, etc. I could have listed a lot more individual stats for Cunha too, but he just has so much strong green in his advanced metrics that we'd be here for hours and hours. And I know y'all don't want that. The point I'm trying to make though, using his goal contributions and his advanced stats so far this season, is that Matheus Cunha is an absolute fucking baller, and he's smoking his competition in this 24-25 season. He's putting a whole Premier League club on his back, and so far it's looking like he's gonna get them surviving relegation, but we'll see whether I jinx that or not. Regardless, Cunha is just so techie, man. He's a player I've personally loved watching so far this season, even if I'm not a Wolves fan. I just really like his overall game and Brazilian flair. And no, speaking about Brazil, this guy hasn't been called up in a while now for the national team. Yo, Brazil, call this guy back up, man. Y'all clearly need someone with a different skill set. Y'all are in the mud right now for World Cup 2026 qualifiers. Cunha can bring that quality. And see guys, I told you, he's still underappreciated by his own country despite having a world-class season. He can't even make Brazil's roster right now, bro, even though they're mid as hell. But with Neymar returning, they're gonna be back soon. But anyways, going back to Wolves, I hope their fans are appreciating him as much as possible right now, because by the summertime, I've got a feeling that he won't be at the club for much longer. In fact, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, everybody knows Cunha's got quality. So much so that the league leader's manager, Arne Slot from my club Liverpool, was glazing him in a press conference, saying that he could play for a top 5 team in England right now. And I certainly hope it's Liverpool. I kind of feel like it makes the most sense. Chelsea? Nah, they signed everybody, and I think they're trusting Nicholas Jackson. Tottenham? Nah, he wouldn't want to go to a team that doesn't win trophies. Plus, they already got Richarlison and Solanke. Man City, they already got Haaland and just splashed hella money on Marmoush. Not that money's a problem for them anyways. And Man United, bro, who the hell wants to join that mess right now? So that just leaves 2 big 6 Premier League clubs, Arsenal and Liverpool. Arsenal were apparently very interested in signing him in the winter, but I don't think Cunha would be the right fit for Arsenal, man. I'm not gonna lie. He's the best in his 10/striker position in my opinion. And Arsenal needs a traditional 9 that can just bag the goals from up top, while Odegaard is the club's captain and is playing the 10. So for me, I think Cunha could pretty closely re-emulate Firmino's role as a false 9 or second striker, potentially for Liverpool. And I think Arne Slot could get the best out of it. And if Cunha is smart, he's staying in the Premier League, because clearly he's flourishing in England right now. So Cunha to Liverpool, please, let's make this happen, FSG, please. Anyways, what are your guys' thoughts on Matheus Cunha's season so far? Do you guys think he's a world-class baller like I do? Let me know in the comments. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to subscribe. I'll really appreciate it. And please be sure to follow my Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and join the Discord community. All the links are in my YouTube description. And last but not least, if you want to learn about the worst league choke in German football history, you definitely want to check out this video right here. You won't regret it.